hot dog eating contest is today.
Oh, is there one?
That's only the
okay.
Yeah, the famous hot dog eating contest.
Yeah,
It's
is that one dude still doing it? The one who's
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut.
Oh, yeah.
He's on crutches this year though, so everyone's like freaking out.
Was he in a tragic hot dog eating? Like, was there a Rocky montage of him training?
Yeah.
And he
It wasn't hot dogs though. It was like spaghetti or something.
someone slipped him a bratwurst, and he just went into anaphylactic shock.
Yeah. It was too heavy. That meat's too well done and packed too tight. You have to chew a little bit harder. He swallowed too hard and it just dropped
Do they
right
even
to his
chew?
legs.
I guess they do.
Not really.
No.
Like at bare minimum.
No, they're like the hot dog shooter guy. Like they
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
You see them like slap their chest to like.
They
get it
chew
down.
the bread kind of after they soak it in water, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they have to have the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a
I have
guy
to
on
say-
Maybe they do
YouTube
that.
I saw once that he was like demonstrating how to do it, and he already had like 10 hot dogs in him as he was demonstrating how to do it. And there was just a moment where he's like talking and like he like turned his head to say something and a hot dog just like fell out of his mouth. Like it just he's done it so much that he's just like, yeah, so I know it just like falls out. And he's like, oh, whoop, grabs
Oh,
it. Like,
man.
you know, like he dropped his car keys and he just like, oh, whoops, sorry. And it sucked it back in. It was like,
You blow out your top pussy taking that much meat.
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
puts
I,
the nut in the Joey Chestnut.
I want it on the record, not to be a footy daddy, but I hate that's my least favorite thing about America, especially like 4th of July, is the hot dog eating contest. I fucking hate it.
It's a
I
little
was
on
gonna
the
say I didn't
nose.
even think about it being
It's a little
4th
on
of July.
the nose.
Do we want to say anything to celebrate America's birthday?
No,
I did see a
absolutely not.
terrible
Yeah, okay.
image.
I
I did
didn't
see a
want to
terrible image. The first thing I opened Twitter was, if you remember those like presidential drawings that are like Benjamin Franklin, he, they, like pan romantic. Have you seen those? There was another one that was in that
The
same.
Hamilton-y ones.
Yeah, it was in the same art style, but it was like a pregnant Clarence Thomas and John Roberts. It was the first thing that I saw when I opened Twitter this morning. Was one of those, and he's just like, my nipples keep leaking. It's like, this is the worst time to ban abortion, and they're both pregnant. You know what? I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna go ahead and it's
I think
god
that
awful.
4th of July should, instead of being a celebration of America, I think it should be the time of the year when Americans apologize to the rest of the world and pay our penance.
There you go. I popped it in the Duds chat there for you guys.
Okay.
Nice.
Why do you hate?
America? I don't know. Look around
Well,
you.
no, that's needs no explaining. But no, the hot dog contest in particular.
Oh, it's just like, it's like every bad facet of America, like just smashed into one event. Like gluttony, eating like the most processed foods, and like
Yeah.
just like being like, it's not celebritizing, but whatever, a verb for making somebody into a celebrity. Somebody who just is a glutton.
Celebrification.
Celebrification, yeah. Anyway,
But it's not even like Americans who are the
Anyways.
best at it, though, right?
No, probably not. We're not the
Probably
best at
not.
anything, really.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy
We
4th of
did it.
July.
Speaking of not being the best at anything, welcome back to
We're gonna talk
There'll
about
Be
Italy.
Duds. Oh yeah, I was gonna go that way too. Welcome back to There Will Be Duds. This is episode 54. I am your co-host TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me, as always,
As always, I'm Travis, aka the Super General.
And as always, we watched a movie. That movie this week being Bicycle Thieves, directed by Vittorio De Sica from 1948. Gotta do that.
oh yeah, you got to do that.
It is a pretty simple story about a lower class a lower class family. The father gets offered a job to where he needs a bicycle to get around. This is post World War II Italy. Bicycles seem to be the main mode of transportation in the city, and they basically spend all their money, all the money they have, on buying a bicycle so he can get this job. And then on the first day of work, it gets stolen by some thieves of bicycles, I guess you could call them. And the rest of the movie follows him and his son as they try to get their bike back. And it's a fun family romp for all ages.
Well,
So who wants
as long
to
as
start
you're
us
old
off?
enough to read or speak Italian.
Yeah.
There is a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, why the fuck did we watch a fucking subtitled foreign movie on
Reading
the 4th
movie.
of July?
Yeah.
It's
Very anti-American of us.
it's too perfect.
I mean, these guys were on the Axis side anyway, so
Yeah.
who cares
Yeah.
about any hardships that they have?
Yeah, right. This is post Mussolini? He was a World War II guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, like just post. I
Yeah.
think going off of what Nick was talking about last week, the Pee Wee Herman movie.
Yeah.
Oh, which one do we think is funnier?
No. No. Most people they'll put on Dark Side of the Moon and watch movies and see if it matches up. So what I
shit.
did is I took the audio from
Pee Wee
Pee-wee
Herman.
and I had that playing as I watched this, and it's pretty good. It doesn't sync up at all, 0%. But it was
I will say
enjoyable
this movie would be much funnier with Danny Elfman's score over top of it. I do think he's like sadly walking home without getting his bike back, and it's like boom beep boom beep boom beep.
They play, I don't know, Tequila when the thief has that seizure or whatever.
No, it's when they go to the pizza place, but it's not actually a pizza place.
Yeah.
And he hands them the bottle of wine that is clearly, I think, just water. 'Cause they couldn't afford it.
With the
Or they-
mozzarella
They
sandwich.
actually want to give a kid wine.
Or maybe they couldn't get it.
It could be
Right.
white wine, but yeah, it looks like
It had a little bit of like a foamy head. I don't know.
tiny little bubbles.
So it was piss.
There's this piss. Yeah, real. This is Italian, not Iranian. That right? The Nathan for you guy who drinks. Yeah,
that's what
you
you're
drink your
talking
son's
about.
piss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought
So-
you were referencing the bicyclist.
Close up.
Or close up.
cyclist.
Yeah.
And I was like, is there something in that where they drink?
I guess you didn't watch it close enough. My first note is just that I noticed that his son Bruno, who is supposed to be the comedic relief throughout the movie, he literally does the gesture when he's helping
does. I had that too.
when he's helping his dad clean up the bike. He does the little no, dad. It's like but dad. And he does the gesture.
Yeah.
Also, man.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of people yelling and going like, "Hey, come on!" like that kind of thing.
I'm very amazed that no one mentioned gabagool, but I guess at that point in time, probably no one could afford it except for the upper crust elites of Italy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the rich family at that restaurant were eating.
It's like
mention that.
gabagool. Bruno is the most endangered child I've ever seen in a movie. He is constantly either going to get hit by a car or molested by weird bicycle parts enthusiasts.
That part was so
I don't know if it's
weird.
supposed to be played for laughs.
Yeah, it was in there. It was like, okay, so this is going to happen. Something's going to happen here. And then nothing happens and they just walk away and it's just okay, so the dad just doesn't even realize that his son almost just got raped essentially. And there's no it doesn't the guy doesn't come back and that's it. It's just hey, just so you know, there's pedophiles
Oh, you're talking
out
about
there.
the bell guy, the guy with the bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was.
Hey, if I
that
buy
was
you
weird.
this bell, can we go in that
Yeah.
alleyway over there and
Yeah.
didn't even trade?
And then his dad would just walk up and like smack him upside the head. He's like, "You get molested," and he just bam.
Let me get you to the wine first.
Get you drunk.
Yeah, I thought Bruno was like great though, like a really great like kid actor.
Yeah, he was pretty good, especially for being like apparently they're all like amateur actors. They're not like
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that too. Yeah, because that was one of the things that always intrigued me about this movie is that like these were all just random people that he pulled off the street, and so there's kind of I mean, they weren't random people, but kind of another similarity with Close Up is those are like non-actors, like real people being pulled into like a movie narrative or whatever. Like Close Up, I can't tell if they're. I wonder if this was English speaking, would I be able to see more holes in their acting? But it's funny because during, like earlier on, like I thought the girl who played his wife was like really good too, and I forgot about the whole thing about them being amateur actors, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she's in anything else because I don't know. I really liked those two, the main guy, Antonio and Maria, like together. I thought they were good, and then I was like, oh, Bruno seems like a really good like child actor, but yeah, they're all just randos, which is pretty nuts. And then there was even characters like his friend who was the like bigger guy who looks like one of the guys from Crime Wave, who was in the musical or he was like practicing for the play, and then he helps him. Like that guy, like he seemed like a character actor to me. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went around and found like people, because this seems very authentic to the time. I mean, it's like post World War II, but like like seeing people underground doing weird like street theater. I wouldn't be surprised if those people were actually doing that, and he said, "Hey, if I give you these lines, will you do this for my movie?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Like we'll take a check or whatever it is that he gives them." You know.
That's true. I didn't really think about that. That like they could still be random people, but they were actually like practicing a play. Like that guy could be like an actor,
right?
Know, so
yeah.
I thought they were all pretty good. I think based on like how it's viewed, I would think that it's probably there's not very many holes in it. Like it's still like viewed as like really good. So I don't know. I was looking at this more like, I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. It's whatever they call it, realism or
neorealism. Italian neorealism was the era of filmmaking or whatever.
It was, I don't know. It seemed to translate pretty well to like where we're at in the world.
It does. That's why stories about like, I don't know, this kind of stuff like poverty or like economic disparity, it's timeless because we never learn and never change. So
it's the poor eating the poor while the rich are just like frivolously like living their lives or just around them essentially.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and the ending,
maybe don't
I think,
steal from the other poor people. Maybe like get those rich people who are sitting at the table across from you, instead of looking at them enviously. Just take their shit.
Just take it.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Yeah, and the ending especially like really, like I thought the ending was like really effective. That he's just like pacing back and forth for like 2 minutes, and then he like tells Bruno to go away, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then it's
he's gonna
like,
go get the
God,
bell.
you feel, yeah.
Oh.
You feel shitty, and like you feel bad for him, but also I don't know. It's a mixture of emotions, and then the literal like the ending where it's just they walk into the crowd, and you're like, oh okay, I get it. It's like they're just like one of thousands others in the city who are in the same situation as them.
Yeah.
and but then I actually laughed out loud. It so took me out of it because I expect, like old ones with like fin, Fin.
Yeah.
But in Italian, it's fine with an E at the end. So the movie ends,
Yeah.
it's really depressing, and then it says fine.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry.
That's the epilogue. It's
They're
gonna
like-
be fine.
The director's actually like, I like this. Actually, I this is good.
Yeah.
This is fine to me.
Yeah.
He tried to steal a bike, so this is what he deserves.
And they lived
Yeah.
happily ever after.
I was like the one thing was I was like, okay, at least because for a second I thought like, oh, he's gonna go to jail and then Bruno's just gonna be like left out in the street by himself.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so the one like positive, I was like, okay, at least he didn't go to jail.
Yeah,
And Bruno
yeah.
wasn't abandoned. It's better, I guess. Even though when they go home, it's like not like it's gonna be happily ever after, but it's like the movie was going along and it would just kind of like hit you really quick with those like dramatic beats, and it would totally like I'd be like, oh shit, like there's the part where like he smacks Bruno in the face, and it like immediately like snapped me to attention, like, oh no. I did watch this a few days ago, so if you guys have like fresher ears, you might have. That's why like it took me a second to remember the creepy bell
Creepy bell guy.
pedo guy.
Yeah, I mean,
there was a part near the end. I don't remember where it is. Oh, it's when he accuses the one guy. Oh, which we can talk about that scene later. Because that was so fucking frustrating, and I think it was meant to be. Where he finds the guy that stole the bike, and then he's like, "Yeah, you stole my bike. You stole my bike." And then they're like saying, "Oh, we'll sue you for libel." And I was like, I know from J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man 1 that slander is spoken. In print, it's libel. So, just that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I watched this last night, and it was after we went to Chloe's parents' place, and we were on the lake, and I had like 4 tall boys, so I was like watching this last night, just like like kind of the room wasn't spinning as much as it was, earlier in the night. But I'm kind of torn with this movie because I was like, I think watching it, I was like mostly just kind of along for the ride. And then really like the ending like got me the worst was like when he was like really debating about taking the bike, and I was like, I should have seen this coming. I should have seen that, like, he tried as much as he could to not stoop to the, he had like a certain level of pride, and he tried as hard as he could not to stoop to the level of like, no, well, this thing happened to me and I wouldn't want it to happen to someone else. And then he finally does, man, and he gets caught immediately. Like the entire town is just like, "Hey, that guy stole a bike," and like everyone comes after him. But it's like, when his bike got stolen, he was chasing this dude, and everyone was just like, what?" Like,
Yeah.
they didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But that was like a huge bummer of an ending. And I was like, oh, like, is it just gonna end with him walking into the faceless ocean of people? And it's fine. I was like, oh shit. Oh man.
Yeah. I think maybe that. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know what that's supposed to say, but because he's pacing for a while, and basically there's those like hundreds of bikes there. He could have taken any one of those.
Yeah.
Before people got out of the game, and he would have been fine. But then he waited too long, and then he's like, okay, now this one's my only option, and it's riskier. But then he just did it. So. On one hand, that could seem like it's saying, like, okay, don't miss your chance. Steal that bike if you're gonna.
Yeah.
But yeah. It could just be over. I don't know if I'd say, like, over the top, but just, like, the fact that, like, yeah, it's, like, no matter what he does, it's, like, he's, like, destined to fail.
Yeah.
To just, like, drive home the point of the movie.
It's supposed to show, like, the desperation of the time of just like they had to sell their sheets to buy a bike, which to me seems like a crazy trade, but it must have been some really nice sheets, or maybe they had that really great like Italian sex.
So I read that from the Wikipedia.
Yeah, they're
so
the dowry sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I'm sure like
Sheets
that's
and
something
sheets,
if
baby.
yeah, they probably were like, oh, I'm guessing like a wedding gift in there, so they're like a
Yeah.
higher quality or some shit
Right.
like that. But yeah, and I don't know, you don't know like at that time too, even if they are just sheets, stuff like that could be more in demand just because
Yeah,
of
but then
production.
you see the guy in a complete like in total OSHA violation. He just like scurries up the side of the shelf, and there's like a huge gigantic shelf full of sheets.
That was awesome.
It was.
That was so cool.
I was like, I mean, at least leave some of those sheets on the ground so if you fall, you land on something soft. But then
Yeah,
he just
right?
like
Yeah.
goes up there with probably his like wooden ass shoes that have no flexibility or grip. He's just like, huh? Let me see. What? Okay, G11. Oh fuck. Actually, he didn't even have that reaction because he just scurries right the fuck up there.
Yeah, for real.
Do you guys remember the scene where they go back, there's like the psychic, I guess,
Yeah.
and the dad's kind of like, oh, they get like money from the sheets and they have some left over, so he's like, I want to pay the psychic because she helped me out or something like that.
She predicted she predicted that he was going to get a job. So I think something along those lines.
Yeah. And they go back, the dad and Antonio and Bruno, and there's a guy there already, and she's talking to him, and she's
I
like,
almost noted that.
you're not, just give up. You're too ugly.
Yeah.
You're way too ugly
Yeah.
for women.
Yeah.
Just give up. And then I was like, it showed the dude, and I was like, he ain't that ugly. He's like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
He's not ugly.
And then he
some
has to
slack.
give
You're
her
just
money for
Italian.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
He gives her money, and then he just gets up and leaves.
It's like, oh,
And that's
okay,
his,
well, thank you.
his story arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty. I don't know if that's like. I have to imagine that's intended to be like funny. It has to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like to like bring it down even more because it's supposed to be like a hey guys, it's shitty out there. I get it.
Not only are you poor, you're also a dog-faced bitch. You're ugly. Like,
Yeah.
give me money now.
Yeah,
Money
it's kind of the opposite of today, where it's like you're not allowed to watch anything unless it's like it's total escapism and there's no politics or
Yeah,
anything involved. This is like the complete opposite. It's just like a mirror. It's just like holding up a mirror to like everybody in Italian society. Which I don't know. Were they even able to go see this movie? Like I don't know how they did that.
What do you mean?
Well, like.
Did they have
money-wise, I mean, if
cinemas?
it's-
Were they able to
yeah, and
afford?
it's so like
Yeah.
they're so poor. Like
Maybe like the people who this movie is about, maybe they couldn't, but that family eating the gabagool at the restaurant probably saw
Yeah.
it and they were like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'd like to imagine all of the upper crust rich families watching it and being like, oh, Bruno, our favorite character.
yeah,
I did see that there was like, which seems to happen with a lot of like, the great movies of cinema,
Uh-huh.
that there was a lot of pushback on it at the time, like from contemporary, like Italian critics saying that like it was very harsh against Italians and it made them look really bad. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think it's not like saying Italians are bad because they're Italian. I think it's saying that like this society has kind of devolved into these shitty sort of moods, or I don't know the way to put it, but like because of being losers in World War II, and but like it's a product of the economy and the governmental structure at the time. It's not just like these people are bad because they do this with their hands.
Yeah.
It's
right.
I think
No, it's
I was gonna say,
I think well, because you're saying like people not getting it, and I think that could be it. Like these film critics aren't going to be the like poor people that this movie's about. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of those people saw it and they didn't get it because they were like, well, that's not how my life is.
right. And I think based on my research on Italian culture, which is The Sopranos, I think Italian people tend to be pretty prideful. I think a lot of cultures, they all the cultures except for America. Well, I guess we do too. Like actually, like give a shit about like
bad
their
kind of
cultural heritage, and like they they have a certain level of pride. And I feel like if you're a commoner or like the proletariat in this case or whatever, you watch this movie and you're like, oh, these guys all look and behave like idiots, like slobs, or like like angry mob. They're probably like, well, yeah, like you said, I'm not like that. That doesn't seem accurate to my life. So they probably were like, no, this is not the me. I keep
Mario. This is not me, Mario. Yeah, I think it was kind of, especially at the beginning, like when he gets his bike stolen, he's like chasing him. It's just so like it shows it is like this. Besides like the scene in the restaurant, it is the most like blatant like the juxtaposition of the classes in in Italy, because it's like, or at the time I should say, in Italy, it was like he's literally like weaving between cars to chase down his bicycle that he had to sell like basically everything he has of value to get so that he could scrape by and feed his family. And it's just like, look around you. Steal a car, bro. Don't steal a bike. They're not chasing you down if you're in a car.
Dare to dream.
If they do, run them down. I don't know. I just it's again, I don't know how much of it was intentional in that sense to like show the. Also, the way they put up posters is fucking busted.
I know. It's so
It
weird.
was like he like put up. I was like, oh, they're just putting up like the top half of a lady, and then like they put on the bottom half of the lady. And I was like, why do you have to rip it in half? You ripped it in half, and then they.
That's how. Yeah, I don't know. That's how they did
Roll it
them
up.
back then.
Yeah.
Also, why does he need a bike to do that? Just
Right. I guess because he's got to get like all over town or something. But yeah, no, like walk, dude.
yeah.
That's why I like. Why couldn't he fight for like? No, I don't have a bike, but I really want this job. So even though it's gonna kick my ass, I'll run.
And then you make enough
Right.
money to buy a bike after. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they did say like, oh, if you don't have a bike, you can't have the job, like initially. But it's like
Yeah.
once you're
Yeah.
in,
You just gotta be like, I got one. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
cheese it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting the oil change. Like if your boss asks, I'm getting the oil change, bro. Chill out.
Yeah, we could fill in the blanks after the credits of like, he goes back to work the next day and they're like, hey, yeah, it's fine. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, you can just walk. It's
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's like, who told you that? Who told you the bike thing?
Yeah.
Because I need his ass.
Someone down at the employment office is on a power trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by employment offices, he just means like the remnants of a like destroyed building
Yeah,
on
right.
the outside of town.
Yeah.
That was another thing actually at first that like kind of threw me, as like he's so desperate for a job, but like there's a crowd of men like around this dude that's like giving out the jobs, and he's just like 2 blocks away like playing with the dirt, and they're like, Antonio, what are you doing over there? And then he's like kind of jogs over, and it's like, dude, it doesn't seem like you want a
Do
job.
you even want a job?
I was wondering about that too, because
Playing in
like
the
yeah,
dirt.
obviously he does, but maybe he was just not feeling very confident that day. I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
like, I never get the job.
And I should have just went into the family business, become a plumber.
I also thought that like naming the movie Bicycle Thieves set me up for like the first, because I don't know, his bike doesn't get stolen until like 15-20 minutes in, something like that. And it set me up for like, because there's like 2 or 3 moments before it gets stolen where like the one I can think of in particular is when his wife goes to the psychic and he just like leaves it on the door or leaves it by the door outside. And
Yeah.
there's a guy who comes by and like looks at it, and I was like, oh, it's gonna get stolen.
Yeah.
And then it does it, and I'm like, oh. Every time he'd like leave his bike behind, I'd be like, is it gonna happen?
It's so funny because Pee-wee's Big Adventure, there are a couple scenes that are very much like that. Like when
really?
when Pee-wee goes to the magic shop, he like chains his bike up. Like he has like rolls of chains. It's like a bit like a clown a clown pulling the shit out. And he goes into the magic shop and he comes back and the bike's still there and he's like he pets it and he like goes off and then it's a bunch of misdirects. Like you always think, okay, this is when it's gonna get stolen. It doesn't get stolen. And it's also funny, he goes to see a psychic after it gets stolen, and that she's the one who's like, she does that thing where she's like, your bike is being held, and she looks around, and she sees like a business that says like Alamo Brothers. She's like, it's in the Alamo, and then she looks at it and it's like in the basement. But the parallels there are pretty funny like that.
That's not called Pee-wee's bike is stolen though. My whole point was that like the movie title sets you up for like, okay, I know what's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. I wondered if it was supposed to be like, because it's bicycle thieves plural. I wonder if that's including
Him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was almost
I think so.
or like him and Bruno, which I guess Bruno is like the moral compass of the whole movie.
Yeah, Bruno's not part of it. Like he sends him away. Like he was intending him to just go home so he wouldn't see him steal the bike.
So he'd be like, Bruno, I found it. I found the bike.
Yeah, something like that.
If an Italian steals a bike and no one's around to see it, or that
Is it really stolen?
is it really stolen?
That's pretty good.
That's what I always say. I thought that like Bruno was like, I really wish that there was a like in-depth documentary or something about this, like how it's made, because it's old. 1948. It's a pretty interesting time to make a classic movie, especially in the like where it's from. You know, they had it kind of rough over there. Not, through faults of their own, I would say.
Sure.
Not necessarily all the commoners of the country, but
What you mean?
like I was just interested because every time it's like Bruno and Antonio and they're just like walking, and Bruno is just like looking up at his dad. He's not looking around like, oh, where we're going. He's just following his dad. He's just like looking up. And I wonder if that was like a conscious choice or if it's just like they're amateurs and he's just like really like, when's the next line? I gotta wait for my cue. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like it, but I was viewing it as like, oh, this is his dad, and he looks up to him, like literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Right.
And he's just constantly disappointed by him. But
Yeah. Yeah. I like.
Except
I like
for when he gets his cheese sandwich.
a mozzarella sandwich.
Yeah. Did look pretty good though. So stringy. It's like when the Ninja Turtles eat pizza in the first Ninja Turtles movie. It's so cheesy. It's stringy.
Yeah. He was doing like the class. That's like one of those things where it seems like he was like really like hammering it up. It's like one of those things in like another culture where it's like, oh, if you really enjoy the food, you got to stretch the cheese or something like that.
Right.
He was like showing his appreciation.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was thinking at the time. I'm like, oh, that could just be like something that he did because he's a little kid and he's eating a cheese sandwich and he likes pulling the cheese,
Yeah.
Is pizza considered a lower class food item, do you think? Because when they went there, I don't know, the guy was like, oh yeah, we don't serve pizza here. Like he thought it was a pizzeria, and then they go in there and he's like, yeah, we don't. We have a mozzarella sandwich. I don't know if that was like, it's like, oh, pizza.
If you put bread on both sides of the cheese, it's fancy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that. But it's possible but I mean, like they eat it regularly, obviously, but it's a treat for them. So it's like a high pour food or something.
Oh yeah.
It's for the high pours.
Can be. I like the part where Bruno like split off to just go pee, and then Antonio comes around the corner and he's like, Bruno, and then Bruno does this like T-pose thing really quick.
Yeah. I wrote piss interrupted on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the most like bummed out I was the ending, but then the most frustrated I was that fucking scene where he like confronts the guy and there's the whole crowd of people like, no, fuck off, get out of here, and then like he finally leaves and they're still like following him. They like come around the corner and they're like, get out of here. And he's like,
and another thing, I did think that was funny that like they all just kind of like shooed him away and he kind of does the George Michael Bluth, the Charlie Brown sad walk, and he turns the corner, and then you see the crowd come around again. It's like, oh yeah. It's like, damn,
fuck off. Yeah,
they love this kid.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Okay, who wants to start us off on our scores?
I don't know. I thought it was good. That's it. It was pretty good. 7. I would give it a 7.5. I don't really have anything else to add. It's pretty straightforward, and we kind of just spent 35 minutes talking about it, so I have nothing more to add. 7.5.
Nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go. I was just gonna go right after that because I also gave it a 7.5.
Shit.
I thought it was really solid. It's a really simple story. There's no, it's one of those that's so simple that you can't really. There's not many holes to poke in it. It kind of hit all the dramatic notes when it needed to. It had an interesting duo of the father and son combo that made it like entertaining to watch. Yeah, it's one where I can definitely see. I like watching these movies that are considered like the greatest movies of all time. When like even if I give it a 7.5, I'm still like, okay, I get it. I get why it's, so highly regarded. So
Yeah.
7.5.
Yeah, that's
solid movie.
It's tough to rate a movie like that and just be like, yeah, it's just like kind of bored. Like it's like this 1940s like movie about class struggle and poverty and shit, and just like, yeah, it wasn't very funny. I don't know. I think the ending.
Weren't any boobs.
Yeah, right. I think the ending really like hit home for me because I was watching it and I'm just like, I'm like sobering up and I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, they're still looking for the bike. All right. I don't know, but like the ending was pretty good, and then I think it kind of all came full circle after I got to that point. So I'm sitting at like a 7. Like it's hard to rate because it's when you see a movie that's like considered one of the greats. I think we've talked about it with like Citizen Kane or other movies where you're just like, it wasn't that great. But it's like I understand why it's up there, and like I get the point, even though it wasn't the most enjoyable viewing of a movie I've ever done.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm at a 7 there, a 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
I got to do a fun Italian accent.
Yeah, and again, yeah, the whole story, like those kind of timeless universal stories, really helps old movies like this. To just, you can at least appreciate the story for what it is, because it's like you could see something like this being made today and kind of having the same effect and everything.
Yeah.
The same way. Yeah. Speaking of no bummers, here's an ad break.
Welcome back to There Won't Be Nick. I don't think the last one we did got recorded. It didn't end up in it because of.
Well, at least in the video version, it's in there.
Oh, you got my side of it too?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Okay, good, because that was another thing that happened. Is mysteriously the audio of mine got deleted. So I think we're onto something here.
Okay. So, yeah, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot by having him be the one who edits the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't think of that until now. I'm thinking I've been hearing noises outside at night. Strange cars parked across the street during the day. I'm I'm afraid.
Okay. This is the fear episode
Yeah.
of their own music. I feel that too, that I hear noises at nights too, but I also have 8 animals, and it very well could be them. I have started locking my doors at night. We made a second house key so that me and Clea can both lock up whenever we leave the house at any point.
Okay.
And so just being extra precautious. I put in our laundry room, we have some doors out there that go out to the garage, so I purposely moved the dryer and washer in front of the doors just as like an extra safety precaution, because it's it's a scary world out there, and it's even scarier when you're so closely associated with somebody.
Yeah, like he who will not be named.
Yeah.
He who will not be present.
And the scary thing is like I could wake up one morning and like, I have some Criterion movies.
Right.
I like good movies too, and like I could wake up and Seven Samurai could just be gone. And
Or is it an invasion of the body snatchers type situation, and you wake up and
the case is still there, but he replaced it with A Bug's Life.
Yeah. And or maybe you wake up and all of your movies are Criterion and A24. And then you're also Nick.
Oh man. But like
Which you don't know.
all the Criterion ones are like Solo. And then all of the A24 ones are Spring Breakers.
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh fuck. I don't like thinking about this.
We need to inoculate ourselves from that somehow.
From the poison.
We'll have to like find out the formula.
Okay.
Oh, formula. Okay, all right.
Ravioli, give me the formula.
All right.
Okay, are we back?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're back.
I'm thinking we're back.
Okay. Contrary to most weeks, I actually like watched a bunch of stuff this week.
Nice.
Me and Clea finished the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which is pretty good. Probably my favorite of the Star Wars Disney Plus shows. A big factor in that is Ewan McGregor. I thought he was really good. There's a lot of that end of Revenge of the Sith sort of emotionality to the show, and I think he brings it. He was like the best part of those prequel movies, and he kind of shows that again in the series, or in this series. Wasn't fantastic. Most of my love for it was for him, and then there's a kind of like central conflict with him that was pretty good. So if you're interested in, if that's your thing, it's not a thing where like, if you're not like a Star Wars head, I wouldn't say, but like, for someone like Travis, who I know isn't like super into the shows, I would give that one a chance, but I would still say like, don't bother with fucking Boba Fett, don't bother with Bad Batch, don't bother with like any of the other Disney Plus shows.
What's Bad Batch? What is that?
It's just it's a show. It's about some stormtroopers. Their like squad is the Bad Batch.
Oh,
that's all it is.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, where does it rank with like the Mandalorian? Because that seems to be like the show.
I think I like Obi-Wan more, but I don't like the Mandalorian as much as everybody else does.
Okay.
I thought the second season was pretty good, but I still think I would put Obi-Wan above it.
Above Baby Yoda.
I mean, Baby Yoda is like the best part of that show. But,
More like Baby Yawn.
Whoa,
but
he's saying it.
Again, a big reason I like Obi-Wan is because the prequel love. So yeah, it's solid. As well as Red Rocket, the new Sean Baker movie, who did Florida Project and Tangerine. This might be my favorite of his. Also, like, pretty solid. Also didn't love it. I thought Simon Rex was really good. Really shitty in the movie. It's a really uncomfortable movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dug it. I'm trying to get through these quick because I went on Obi-Wan more than I meant. But
I remember discourse about, so when Licorice Pizza came out, people were like,
oh yeah,
they were like, age gap discourse. And then someone was like, okay, well, you guys clearly haven't seen Red Rocket. So I know, like,
yeah,
he's like 40 something, and then like,
she's 17.
okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think she's 17. She says, like, I turn 18 in, like, a couple weeks. Yeah, I don't know how it's... I mean, I think in Licorice Pizza, it's not handled this way, but, like, he's supposed to be a piece of shit. Like, he's supposed to be, like, not a good dude.
Yeah.
He's, like... Not only is he, like, banging this chick, but he's also, like, grooming her to be a porn star.
Oh, great.
It's
Great.
very... Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. So...
Yeah, but if you show that on screen, then that means that you approve of it. So
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I approve of bicycle theft.
That's-
and,
You Mussolini apologist.
because I directed Bicycle Thieves, I guess is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
It's
and
like
then
that, like, it's like the meme of like the guy is like talking to the point, and then it's like the thing going over his head, and the guy's like,
yeah.
stealing bikes is cool.
yeah. Yeah. Another on the same, like, these are all kind of like same vibe, same level of enjoyment on my part. And the next one is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nicolas Cage movie. There's a recurring joke that's very specific to me that I really enjoyed.
the part where they go, "Hey TJ, do you like this part?"
No, there's a part where they're like, "Hey TJ, this is one of your favorite movies, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is. How'd you know?" And they make it like a recurring joke, and so I appreciate that. But yeah, there's some really good elements to it, and then there's some that are kind of exactly what I was expecting. Like, oh, we're gonna just, like, Barinholtz is gonna list off some Nicolas Cage movies. Isn't that funny? He's naming some movies that you know, and like that's the stuff that I was like, eh. But then there's some, Nicolas Cage is still entertaining. Pedro Pascal's great in it. There's this whole thing where he talks to like a 90s version of himself. So it's like the curtains, like Bangs haircut version of Nicolas Cage. And that's all like really entertaining.
Do they digitally de-age him? Do they do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's like supposed to be like, younger and like in his head or whatever. But yeah, I would recommend it, if you're interested in like seeing what that the thing is, I think it's worth a watch if you're a Cage fan, and if you think it'd be something, if you think that like the whole, what would a Nicolas Cage movie about Nicolas Cage be,
right,
if that interests you, I would give it a chance at least. And then, did you want to talk about your Cage movie, or
what was that?
What?
were we gonna? Did you want to do a little Cage talk, or are we just gonna go?
Oh yeah, we can do some Cage talk because we've seen a few of his movies as of late. We watched The Family Man a few months ago, and then
Solid.
yeah, which it was funny because I had actually heard part of that movie from a cartoon on Newgrounds, like probably 20 years ago. It's the "Do you want this cake?" Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's been a very long time since I saw
it was
that movie.
it was a
I
very
used to watch it a lot when I was a kid.
It's the part where he comes home and he's like, "Hey, where's that chocolate cake?" And then she's like, "I ate it." And
that is familiar.
someone took like those lines of dialogue and put them into a Flash cartoon and then made it like an EDM song. And the only reason I know is because there's one scene where Chris Chan is animated into it for no, I don't know why. But like we got to that scene and I was like, oh yeah, this is the chocolate cake scene. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, oh yeah. Do you want this cake? I want it. So, but we watched Raising Arizona a couple weeks ago, and then we watched Adaptation like 2 nights ago. Just some solid Cage flicks, and I don't think he gets I don't know. I don't think he deserves. I think people think Nicolas Cage is a bad actor because there's like some zany movies that he's in, or at least they don't take him seriously at all. Like they kind of like, oh yeah, he's that joke guy.
I feel like that's come around in the last few years.
Yeah,
kind of like similar to the Star Wars prequels. Like they were hated for a long time. They were made jokes of, but now they're kind of getting more love and appreciation. And I think Nicolas Cage is like kind of, he's not considered like prestige Oscar anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's like, oh, Nicolas Cage is in a movie, it's bad type thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because like I remember we were talking about Pig, and that was like my number one concern about seeing that movie was that there were going to be people in the audience that are just being like, yeah, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be weird like Nicolas Cage, and then it wasn't, and it was nice.
Yeah.
But Adaptation, man, I don't know when the last time you saw that movie was, but
It's also been a while.
it is maybe the most meta movie I've ever seen. Because it's about a guy writing a movie about a book, but everything is based on real life people. And like there are several scenes where he'll be like, we open up on the world being formed, and there's a meteor that hits the earth and the dinosaurs. But it's like he's doing that for a scene that we all have already seen. So it's like he's writing the movie as the movie's being made in real time. Like it's hard to explain, but once you watch it, it makes sense.
It's funny because they do that in, not that scene specifically, but The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is also very meta in that way. Like he's writing a script with Pedro Pascal, and it like mirrors everything that happens in the movie.
Oh, that's awesome. I do like that.
Yeah. Okay. Now I want to squeeze in a little Top Gun.
Yeah, you can
squeeze out
squeeze
a
it.
little Maverick. Okay. So I saw it. I've seen it twice in theaters now. It's, in my opinion, it's exactly what I was expecting from it, and I'm pretty pleased with that. Like I thought I wasn't super interested in the story, I'll say that. Like I think the characters were like, some of the characters at least were like interesting enough, but what I was there for was the action, and I think that like far and above delivered, in my opinion. I think like the cinematography, the tension, the fact that they're, as Tom Cruise tells you in like the pre-movie intro, real G's, real speed, real F-18 fighter jets. So yeah, like I don't know. I can't fault it on like any of the actions. It's on fire whenever there's an action scene. It's amazing. But then everything else, I'm like, him and Jennifer Connelly, and I like Jennifer Connelly, but it's just like, okay, I want to get back to the planes.
Yeah, most of the movie is in the planes, I would say. I would say like 70% of it.
I would not say 70%. I would say like 50, maybe.
No way.
No, there's not. It's not as much. Watching it the second time, it feels more kind of even. The most like, and I mean, I guess technically this had planes in it, but the scene that I was into the most that wasn't like, I guess I'll say it wasn't an action scene with planes, even though there were planes taking off, was the opening credits with the dudes on the deck of the aircraft carrier, and they're going like, they're like doing these like,
it's to danger zone. It's like, that's what I was saying before. It's like, it's so 80s. It's like, it's like, it's the ignition to the time machine that is Top Gun to like bring you back to the 80s. It is like,
good way to put
here
it.
we are, we're there. Actually, it's not the ignition. It's like,
it's the
you've
remix.
already hit. It's like, it's the remix. It's like the opening, like it fades in from black or whatever.
And it
That's
starts with
the
that
ignition.
like the synthy boom 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 boom
Yeah.
and then it goes
It's-
into that.
It's the black, like when it's black between Tom Cruise's little speech and the opening part. That's when you're actually traveling in time. The danger zone sequence with them like cheering. That's like you open the door and you're like, oh, okay, this is the 80s. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
fucking rad.
because you had mentioned it ahead of time, I laughed out loud when it gets to the beach and I see them put 2 footballs down.
Yeah, yeah,
The fuck is this game?
yeah. Not
Dogfight
explained at all.
football. Yeah.
Not explained at all.
There's already a game called Air Force Football. Do that. Like just it's
they're
right
in
there.
the Navy.
Or just do regular
Okay, yeah.
football.
Yeah, or
Do
also regular
football. It's not like in the original Top Gun, which we were watching last night. It's not like it is like dueling volleyball. It's just regular volleyball.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, think about what about this? Volleyball, everyone's got a ball.
I want to know what like it was like shooting that scene. Were they literally just like throwing 2 balls around and they're like, I don't know,
I
just
think
whoever,
so,
just
yeah.
somebody catch it, just somebody try to catch it. They're like, yeah, but then where do I go? And it's like, I don't fucking know. Just catch the ball. Just
It sounds
just
like
run.
The Room. They just got footballs thrown to each other.
Yeah.
that was the day after Miles Teller got his diagnosis of jet fuel, so they had to take it a little easy
Yeah.
because he you know, Tom Cruise was born with it, so he's like used to it. But Miles Teller is like it's kind of like whatever that's V.
He's
from
getting
Boys.
injected with Compound V.
Yeah, he's got to like ease into it. It's a little too much for him at first.
Compound crude oil.
Oh, I've got superpowers.
Yeah, I liked Miles Teller's character. I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
I liked Glenn Powell, who's Hangman, who I've seen in a couple things. I feel like he's played like an astronaut or like a pilot a few times because he was in Hidden Figures. He was one of the astronauts in that.
Oh, okay.
I mostly know him from Everybody Wants Some, which is a great movie, a great like feel good movie. But like I like them. I like Tom Cruise. And then I didn't really care about any of the other characters. Although I did get pretty emotional during the Val Kilmer scene, but that was just because of like Val Kilmer himself, I guess.
Yeah.
It made me really sad, but also like, you know, it's like a bittersweet scene. So that one, like I actually teared up with, and I was like, I haven't even seen the first movie. I don't know these characters. It's just, oh, it's Val Kilmer, and I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
it's sad. But yeah, saw like even though I wasn't super into everything that wasn't the plane scenes, those kind of made up for everything else because it was just, and you know, maybe if I wasn't going in with that mindset, I would have a different opinion. But I knew what I wanted, I knew what I was expecting, and I got exactly that. And so yeah, it's a big recommend for me. Speaking of seeing new movies,
Recommendations.
we have another movie to watch for next week.
It's the original Top Gun.
Fuck yeah.
You could put that in there. We could do that if we wanted.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it.
So for next week, we're gonna watch. This might be another one of yours. Although I thought about putting it in there, but this might be another Travis. I'm really excited to watch this one again. We're watching Brawl in Cell Block 99, directed
Yeah, I
by
did
S. Craig Zahler from 2017. Fucking
Oh.
pumped. Well, spoilers, I like this movie. Cool. Yeah. Damn. That's like this like last month has been almost all Travis movies. So see what happens when you guys put movies in the cup, they get pulled. Looks like it is for rent on Amazon, Google Play, YouTube. So watch Brawl and Cell Block 99 before next week's episode if you don't want to be spoiled for it. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST. in video form on Twitch and YouTube, as well as in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, stuff. Just give us a follow and like, and just watch the show, please. That more than anything, just watch the show. That's about.
We are holding your hand.
Nick is. I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny in conjunction with this week's.
What a bummer ending, just like the movie.
In conjunction with this week's episode of There Will Be Nick, that kind of holds some different
Damn it.
connotations, I guess.
Oh, can't wait to find out what that's going to be.
You gave us a lot of time this week, so.
I know I did.
Okay. I am your plucky little son, and I'm a fixing the bike, Dad. Leave me alone. And I had to do it to him at least once.
Yes.
TJ, aka J Spot Check Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I am your too ugly for life
Nice.
poor guy going to a psychic to figure out my life, Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me as always.
And as always, I am your a stretchy cheese a sandwich. Travis, aka the Super General.
Yeah, we should have all. You should be like, I'm too ugly for life.
I'm too ugly. Nobody like me.
Just to quit a life. Too ugly. Too ugly to exist.
It's like, what if The Bees was done in Italy?
Yeah, I like that. All right, arrivederci.
There we go. Arrivederci.
Ciao.